De pie cantar que vamos a triunfar, avanzan ya banderas de unidad y tú vendrás marchando junto a mí y así verás tu canto y tu bandera florecer. La luz de un rojo amanecer anuncia ya la vida que vendrá. De pie marchar, el pueblo va a triunfar. Será mejor la vida que vendrá a conquistar nuestra felicidad. Y en un clamor, 1000 voces de combate se alzarán, dirán canción de libertad. Con decisión la patria vencerá. Y ahora el pueblo que se alza en la lucha, con voz de gigante gritando adelante. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. La patria está forjando la unidad. De norte a sur se movilizará. Desde el salar ardiente y mineral al bosque austral, unidos en la lucha y el trabajo irán. La patria cubrirán, su paso ya anuncia el porvenir. De pie cantar, el pueblo va a triunfar. Millones ya imponen la verdad. De acero son, ardiente batallón, sus manos van llevando la justicia y la razón. Mujer, con fuego y con valor, ya estás aquí junto al trabajador. Y ahora el pueblo que se alza en la lucha, con voz de gigante gritando adelante. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. Laray, 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 laray.
What a wonderful way to start our Labor Day service. Thank you so much. So I am Reverend Kristen Kuriga. I serve as one of our ministers. I had a couple of things I wanted to share with you. You may notice in your order of service that Gabriel, who is our new pianist and organist, was supposed to be with us. He's ill today, so we're sending our care his way. But we have a wonderful team that is helping us out this morning. Also a note, we may at some point hear a beeping noise. There was a problem with the fire alarm in this building early this morning. So if you hear it, it is not an emergency. It is something happening with the fire panel. Pam is prepared to help us with that. She's right here, so know we're in good hands, and we're just hoping it won't happen. Thought it'd be better to know about it ahead of time. So our opening words are "Blessed are the hungry" by Reverend Julian Jamaica Soto. I know that you are hungry for justice, and sometimes when you fail, it feels like those times when you open the refrigerator door, you look inside and you close it, and nothing has met your appetite. But there is always trying again. There's the fact that one just act is the beginning, and together we can build another and another. The gnawing hunger for a different future is one that we feed right here in the present. Your diligence, your tenacity, your willingness to learn, not just know, but also do. Hunger shaping how you nourish, feeding one another with the long spoons of your compassion until you're strong enough to feed the part of the world that you can reach. Welcome to worship this morning. And I want to invite you to rise, embody your spirit, and join in our opening hymn, De Colores.
De colores se visten los campos en la primavera. De colores son los pajaritos que vienen de afuera. De colores es el arco iris que vemos lucir. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. All the colors, yes, the colors of people parading on by with their banners. All the colors, yes, the colors of pennants and streamers and plumes and bandanas. All the colors, yes, the colors of people now taking their place in the sun. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. De colores, sí, de negro y blanco y rojo y azul y castaño. Son colores de gente que ríe y estrecha la mano. Son colores de gente que sabe de la libertad. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of San Diego, where we worship each Sunday in the South Bay, in Hillcrest, and online.
Buenos días y bienvenidos a la primera iglesia unitaria universalista de San Diego, donde adoramos cada domingo en South Bay, en Hillcrest y en línea.
My name is Steve Howard. I'm a member of the board, and I use the pronouns he and him. A special welcome to those of you who are here for the first time or our first time in a long time. Please fill out the welcome card in your order of service.
Soy la reverenda Kristen Kuriga y uso el pronombre ella. Una bienvenida muy especial a todos que están con nosotros por primera vez. Les extendemos la invitación de llenar el formulario en el orden de servicio.
Our community is a vital, diverse, multi-generational congregation without borders, with a mission to create community, nurture spiritual growth, and act on our values to help heal the world.
Somos una congregación compuesta de personas de distintas identidades, racializadas y culturas, personas de diversas orientaciones sexuales y identidades de género, personas de varias habilidades mentales y físicas.
We are creators of community and compassion, and although we can fall short, we are committed to practicing an affirming welcome to all.
Con espíritu de reverencia, reconocemos que nos juntamos esta mañana en la tierra de los Kumeyaay, quienes continúan viviendo en todo su territorio. Al emprender este viaje juntos, mantengamos en nuestros corazones y mentes el pueblo Kumeyaay.
In a spirit of reverence, we acknowledge that we gather this morning on the land of the Kumeyaay, who continue to live throughout their territories. May the light of this candle shine for our commitment to the Kumeyaay people and to justice and equity for Indigenous peoples everywhere.
I invite you to rise once again in body or spirit and join in singing our church hymn and reciting our church aspiration.
From all who dwell below the skies, let faith and hope with love arise. Let beauty, truth, and good be sung through every land by every tongue. De todos bajo el gran sol surja esperanza, fe, amor, verdad y belleza cantando. Cada tierra, cada voz. May love be the spirit of this church. May the quest for truth be its sacrament and service be its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, and to help one another in fellowship. This is our aspiration. Que el amor sea la doctrina de esta iglesia, la búsqueda de la verdad su sacramento y el servicio su oración. Vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad con libertad y ayudarnos mutuamente en comunidad. A eso aspiramos. Well, good morning, friends. I'd like to invite any of the children or youth who'd like to come up and join me for our time for all ages. Am I coming? Oh, no. Oh, there we go. Good morning. Oh, thank goodness. I thought I was going to have to do this all by myself. Whew. Hey, Finn, do you notice anything different up here in the decorations today?
I noticed there was flowers.
Yeah, what are they? What are those flowers inside? Does that look like anything?
It looks like a spray bottle.
Yeah, it's a spray bottle. What else is up here? Esther, do you notice anything different up here? No? I see a broom and a trash bag and a dustpan. And that's because today for Labor Day, our service is going to, at several points, is going to talk about the Los Angeles janitors strike. And our book is about that. It's called Si Se Puede, which means, does anybody know what that means in English? Si se puede.
Me and my dad, we speak English, I think.
Yeah, you speak English, yeah. In English, that means yes, yes, we can. Yes, that's Spanish for yes, we can. So a strike is what happens when workers don't think they're being paid enough or they aren't being treated fairly or with respect. And if the people that they work for won't agree to treat them fairly, then they all stop working as a protest. And then they talk until the two sides agree on a new deal. So let's see what happens in our story. Sleep with the angels, Carlitos, says Mama when she tucks me in. See you in the morning, I say, and close my eyes. While everyone sleeps, my mama goes to work. She rides the bus into downtown Los Angeles, where skyscrapers shoot up from the sidewalks. At night, the streets are empty. It's quiet when my mama goes into the tall glass office building where she scrubs and mops and polishes. After that, she sorts and dumps all the trash. The sun is ready to rise when she takes the bus back home again to me. When I wake up, Mama is always in the kitchen talking to my abuelita. We all eat breakfast together. When I'm ready, Mama walks me to the school bus. "Sleep with the angels, Mama," I call out the window. "Have a good day at school," she says. Then she goes back home to bed. One night, Mama says, "Do you know, Carlito, that I cannot take care of you and abuelita the way I want to? Even though I work full-time as a janitor, I also have to clean houses and wash clothes on the weekend. That means we don't have any time together. And I can't afford to buy the medicine abuelita needs to help her sore bones feel better." I looked at my abuelita. I looked at my mama. I looked at the family photos on the wall. My favorite was the one of her dressed in her wedding gown with my papa. When Papa was still alive, we all lived in Mexico, the country where I was born. Carlitos, she said, "I have to work so hard and get paid so little isn't fair." So today, all the janitors met outside the Union Hall and voted to stop working. We're going to let those offices get dirtier and dirtier and won't clean them again until we get the pay raises we deserve. And Carlitos, Mama said as she combed her fingers through my hair, "For me to put my full heart into this, I'm going to need your help." I hugged my mama. "I'll help you," I said. But in bed that night, I couldn't think of what I could do. Then the strike began. Mama and all the other janitors marched, held rallies, and had lots of meetings. Our phone never seemed to stop ringing. Every morning, Mama read me newspaper articles about the strike. She showed me pictures of bus drivers, carpenters, ministers, and students, all marching alongside the janitors. "Where did they all come from?" I asked. Mama's eyes lit up. So many people promised to help us. People from Los Angeles and from all over California and even from other states came to take a stand with us. I cut out the photos to bring to school. Lots of my classmates also had parents on strike. Our teacher, Miss Lopez, told us that when her grandfather came to the United States, he was also treated badly. Grandpa and the other farm workers joined together to fight for a better life, just like the janitors are doing now. "Did they win?" I asked. "You bet they won. When many people join together, they can make a strong force." Mama told me lots of different stories about the strike. "So many people have come to support us," she said, "and this afternoon, even Miss Lopez was there." As the sun set, we stood together and held candles in our hands. And in that silence, we didn't feel how tired we were from marching all day. Instead, we felt the glowing light of our strength. The next night, I saw my mama on the news making a speech. Hundreds of people were marching behind her. That's when I knew what I could do to help. I'd go downtown too, but with a special surprise. I told my idea to my abuelita and to Miss Lopez. Then I talked to my class and asked all the kids to help. And together, we painted signs for the marchers. My favorite sign was the one I painted in the brightest colors of all. "I love my mama. She is a janitor." The next day, Miss Lopez took some of the kids from my class on the bus downtown to Los Angeles. When Mama saw us, she was so happy she almost cried. As we marched, I held my sign as high as I could. There were thousands and thousands of people all around me. I held on tight to Miss Lopez's hand. "Carlos," she said, "this is a celebration of courage." After 3 long weeks, the strike was over. My mama and the janitors finally got the respect and pay raises they deserved. "Carlitos," Mama said, "I couldn't have done it without you." She hung the sign I made on our living room wall. "It's the most beautiful sign in the world," she said. That night, as always, my mama tucked me into bed. "Sleep with the angels, Carlitos." "See you in the morning," I said and closed my eyes. And that night, I had a dream. When my mama took the bus to scrub, mop, and polish in the tall glass office buildings that shoot up from the streets, I dreamt that angels came down to Los Angeles and sang songs to her while she worked. Now, my mama smiles a whole lot more. Abuelita's sore bones feel so much better. She walks with mama and me to the school bus in the morning. Mama no longer has to clean houses and wash clothes on the weekends. Instead, we go to the park, and on our way home, she lets me buy something from the man who sells sweets on the corner. One Saturday morning, the phone rang after we got home from the park. "I'll be there," Mama said before she hung up. "Carlitos," she said, "I have a promise I must keep, to be there when other workers need my help." "Who needs your help, Mama?" I asked. "People who clean hotel rooms. So this afternoon, I'm going to meet them." But just as she was about to leave, I said, "Mama, wait!" I took down my sign from the living room wall and walked out with her. That afternoon, we joined the workers and marched up and down in front of the hotel. Mama and I met lots of new friends, and together we shouted, "Sí se puede!" The end. Well, thank you for listening to the story with me, friends, and I hope you grow up to be people who make change like that too. And as you saw in the story, you can start doing that right now. You don't have to wait until you're a grown-up to do it. So can you stand up with me up here, and we're going to lead the congregation in our affirmation. We'll say it first in English and then in Spanish. We are Unitarian Universalists, a people of open minds, loving hearts, and welcoming hands. Somos unitarios universalistas, personas de mentes abiertas, corazones amorosos y manos que dan la bienvenida. And now I invite all the children or youth to come with me and their other leaders out to the patio, and we'll head to religious education.
To freedom we shall not be moved. On the road to freedom we shall not be moved. As like a trees that's standing by the waterside, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, like a trees standing by the waterside. We shall not be moved. Unidos en la lucha no nos moverán. Unidos en la lucha no nos moverán, como un árbol firme junto al río. No nos moverán, no nos moverán, no nos moverán, como un árbol firme junto al río. No nos moverán, unidos en la huelga no nos moverán. Unidos en la huelga no nos moverán, como un árbol firme junto al río. No nos moverán. We shall not be moved on a tree standing by the river. We shall not be moved.
Well, some more announcements. Lay ministers are available every Sunday after the service on the patio here in Hillcrest to offer a listening presence. This morning's lay minister is Les Vivian. Les, where are you? There he is. I want to highlight a few events happening next Saturday, September 7th, on the Hillcrest campus. In your order of service, you'll find a flyer for a vegetarian potluck for those who identify as Jewish, being held by Rabbi Alexis Pierce. See the flyer to learn more and use the QR code to RSVP. That same afternoon, there will also be the Summer Tardeada, a traditional Mexican dance party with free refreshments and dance lessons featuring La Rondalla y Mariachi Victoria. Don't forget to register. And next Sunday is our in-gathering service marking the beginning of the new church year. We will be worshiping as one congregation here at Hillcrest and invite you to join us for a morning of joy and celebration. One way we live our values is by sharing our offering each week with a local organization working for justice. Through the month of September, our offering is being received in support of the San Diego Organizing Project, a multi-faith network of congregations that represents more than 30,000 families across San Diego County. Since 1979, SDOP has equipped people of faith to build power and organize their communities to win racial and economic justice through leadership development, community education, and civic engagement and advocacy. You may donate this morning here in person by credit card using the dip jar, or by cash or check using the donation boxes. If you'd like assistance, please raise your hand. You may also donate online at our church's website, First UU San Diego. This works on your phone, too. You can do it from the comfort of your seat. Thank you for your generosity. This morning's offering will now be gratefully received.
I invite you now to join me in a time of meditation. You might just take a moment to feel your body in the seat. Maybe drop into your breath. Notice that rise and fall of the belly, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. On this Labor Day weekend, as we honor work, I want us to take a moment to really appreciate all the ways in which our bodies allow us to move and to work and to be of service in the world. So I want to invite us to bring our attention to our hands. So you might place them in your lap and look down. Take a moment to just look at your hands and notice how they look, and maybe how they feel. You might notice the shape. If you run your hand along them, you might feel what the lines feel like on your palms. Notice the difference in texture between your palm and the upper side of your hand. You might notice if they feel hot or cold. Do they ache? Take a moment to honor all the ways that your hands support you in a day, in a week, in a lifetime. As it feels good to you, you might say thank you to your hands. And now I invite you to receive this blessing, words by Diane New. Blessed be the work of your hands. Blessed be these hands that have touched life. Blessed be these hands that have nurtured creativity. Blessed be these hands that have held pain. Blessed be these hands that have embraced with passion. Blessed be these hands that have tended gardens. Blessed be these hands that have closed tightly in anger. Blessed be these hands that have planted new seeds. Blessed be these hands that have cleaned and washed and mopped and scrubbed. Blessed be these hands that are wrinkled and scarred from doing justice. Blessed be these hands that have reached out to someone else and been received by them. Blessed be these hands that hold the promise of the future. Blessed be the work of your hands. Amen. We'll stay seated as we sing our meditation hymn, Over My Head. The lyrics may be a little different than you remember. These are justice lyrics that come from the Poor People's Campaign.
Over my head, I see freedom in the air. Over my head, I see freedom in the air. Over my head, I see freedom in the air. A change is coming out there. Over my head, I see justice in the air. Over my head, I see justice in the air. Over my head, I see justice in the air. A change is coming out there. Over my head, I see peace in the air. Over my head, I see peace in the air. Over my head, I see peace in the air. A change is coming out there. Over my head, I hear singing in the air. Over my head, I hear singing in the air. Over my head, I hear singing in the air. A change is coming out there. Over my head, I see love in the air. Over my head, I see love in the air. Over my head, I see love in the air. A change is coming out there.
Growing up, Labor Day marked the end of summer. Maybe it was the last long beach day or a barbecue where my whole family gathered together. I often thought of it as the final days of running free before school would start again. Even though I came from a long line of working people, carpenters and welders, railroad workers, printers and retail workers, I really didn't know what Labor Day was about. I didn't know anything about the language of workers' rights or unions, organizing or justice. I certainly didn't know that we were working class. I only knew that my family worked long hours in often ways that were hard on their bodies, that sometimes it was difficult to make ends meet. And I knew that I would be the first in my family to go to college. It was my freshman year, and I signed up for this course called Radical America, the History of U.S. Protest. Now, honestly, I'm not sure what made me want to sign up for this course. Until that moment, I thought that history was boring. It was a list of dates and people's names who were powerful and were nothing like me and were nothing like where I came from. History was about war and governments and countries, and it was made by a select few people, many of whom I didn't know. But this history that I was introduced to in this course, the history of U.S. protest, was about everyday people who organized in their communities for their survival, who took action, and sometimes even won. As I started to learn these new stories, these new narratives, just something started to change in me. My heart and my mind opened to possibility, and I realized that we are not just people that history happens to, but that we have power and agency, that we can join with others to shape our communities and our policies. that we too are history makers. Labor Day is about honoring this kind of struggle. It's about the working people who have fought for every kind of basic economic protection we have. 8-hour days, 40-hour work weeks, overtime pay, safety precautions, child labor laws, pensions, health insurance, sick time, paid vacation, Social Security, workers' compensation, and the right to organize. Every single one of these things was not freely given by the powerful. It was demanded by the organized. My labor history professor, the one that taught that course I told you about, often reminded us that labor activists are the folks that brought us the weekend. These protections were won by working people through collective action. They had to risk many things, and they often paid with their lives. Labor organizers demand that all people deserve a right to survive and to thrive. So I want to invite you today to take a moment and think back about a time that you witnessed the collective power of people to make change. Take a moment to think of a story, a time you experienced or saw, a group of people make change. As you think of that story, notice the feelings that arise. How did that experience change you? Because I think stories are so important, this morning I want to tell you about the most powerful moment of collective action I've ever been part of. Now, this was in 2006. I was flying to Houston, Texas, because 1,700 janitors had gone on strike, just like in our story this morning. When I arrived, they were a few weeks already into their struggle, and each day they marched in front of the giant office towers of downtown Houston, and they were chanting and singing, "El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido." The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. No, no, no nos moverán. No, no, no nos moverán. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. And sí, se puede. Sí, se puede. Yes, we can. Now, the janitors were joined by students and faith leaders, by local activists and workers from other unions who came out in solidarity. There was pickets and leafleting by workers all over the world. And organizers and researchers like myself were flown in from around the country to support the largest strike in a southern white-to-work state in over 50 years. Now, before the strike, these janitors were mostly invisible to the business people who worked in the buildings they cleaned. They worked at night for private contracting companies, part-time, no health benefits, no paid sick leave, no vacation, a minimum wage of $5.25 an hour. The companies strategically kept shifts at 4 hours so that no one would be eligible for benefits. And the workers, mostly women and immigrants, tried to feed and house their families on an average of $20 a day. $20 a day in 2006. Now, the strike lasted for 4 weeks, and it involved incredible courage and sacrifice by the workers. Janitors who lived in extreme poverty gave up their pay. Children were on the picket line with their parents, pushed in strollers and banging drums and carrying signs night and day. Many risked taking collective action as undocumented workers, knowing that they not only could lose their jobs, but that they could be deported and separated from their families. And I looked around and I wondered what could push workers to take this kind of risk. I learned by getting to know their stories. A mother who was diagnosed with breast cancer, who was denied treatment because she did not have health insurance. Janitors working several jobs and their children still going without food. families living with 10 people in a 2-bedroom apartment to make ends meet. Workers who dreamed that one day their children would be able to go to college and to have more choices than they had. The janitors were on strike, yes, for increased pay and benefits, but also for the basic human rights of housing and food and health, but also for human dignity. It was about respect, demanding that no person was disposable or expendable. They were striking for the right to live and to thrive for themselves and for all families. So I was here at the janitor strike before I was introduced to Unitarian Universalism. But when I first came to this faith tradition, I was so moved by our first principle, affirming the inherent worth and dignity of every person. After being on that strike line with those workers who were demanding dignity, they said, I have inherent worth, I have dignity, you cannot treat me this way. And myself, growing up in a working class family, I know how much worth and dignity are connected to work. How many people are not valued by our economic system? I do think that honoring the inherent worth and dignity of all people is a radical mandate. It's not only about how we individually treat people, it's about the laws and the systems and the policies that impact our communities. I really love that in our new vision of our values that got passed at General Assembly, it puts this idea of inherent worth and dignity under the principle and value of equity. Right? So it's not just individually about how we treat each other, it's also about working for equity in systems and structures and institutions. Now, the Houston's janitor strike was truly a struggle. Not only were the workers on strike for 4 weeks, it took increasingly daring and coordinated acts of nonviolent civil disobedience to secure a contract. We chained people to the Chevron building. We slowed traffic during rush hour on a major 5-lane highway with vans that read "Justice for Janitors" across the rooftops. We sat down in the major intersections. The district attorney put $800,000 bails on every key leader who was arrested doing civil disobedience to try to end the strike. We kept flying in more janitors, more organizers, more people from all over the country who were known as Freedom Flyers. It was a final act of violence, unfortunately, that led to a settlement. There was a whole group of people who were taking over an intersection, handcuffed together, when the Houston police charged the group of people on horseback, sending an 83-year-old union activist to the hospital. It was that moment that the building owners went to the janitorial contractors and they said, you have to end this. Settle this strike. The next day, the contractors and the union representatives and the building owners held a press conference. And the new contract include $2 an hour raises, increased hours, paid vacation, paid sick leave, and individual health insurance for every janitor. When that was announced, the workers exclaimed, "Sí, se puede! Sí, se puede! Yes, we can!" And this celebration erupted. There were thousands of workers with their families dancing in the street, making music and chanting. Workers cried and they embraced and they told their stories. They lifted their children high on their shoulders. There was an electric and contagious joy that I had never felt before. It was one of the most powerful experiences of collective action I've ever been part of. And it's renewed my faith in people power, in our human agency, in our ability to bend the arc towards justice. As a Unitarian Universalist, I'm also reminded that our power comes from knowing that we are interconnected, that we belong to each other, and that our fate is bound up with one another. The international workers of the world often proclaim an injury to one is an injury to all. In these times that we are living in, I think we can learn from the history of struggle about what is needed now, what is needed to reclaim our democracy, to challenge state-sponsored violence, to advocate alongside millions of working and poor people who struggle to survive, to address issues that plague our communities, like access to affordable housing, mass incarceration, immigration detention, and homelessness. We can be reminded that it is indeed possible to move our society towards greater justice and equity. But someone else is not going to do it. It is going to be us, organized people who resist the eroding of our rights. It will be us in partnership with workers and unions, immigrants and poor folks who will struggle for true equity, who will feed our communities through the South Bay Food Pantry, who will work with San Diego Organizing Project and Alliance San Diego for a moral economy and basic human rights, who will write the postcards and make the phone calls to ensure folks have what they need to use their right to vote and to protect our democracy. It is us, the people. On this Labor Day weekend, may we remember that our power is grounded in our faith and our values. May we know that we are living in a moment that will one day be history, and that we are the history makers. What kind of risks are we willing to take? El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. The people united will never be defeated.
Gonna keep on moving forward. Gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back. Vamos todos adelante. Siempre hacia adelante, siempre hacia adelante, sin volver atrás, sin volver atrás. Won't you keep on loving boldly? Keep on loving boldly. Keep on loving boldly. Never turning back. Never turning back. Amaremos con pasión. Siempre con pasión. Con pasión, sin volver atrás, sin volver atrás. Always work for change, always work for change, always work for change. Never turning back, never turning back. Para el cambio, siempre para el cambio, sin volver atrás, sin volver atrás.
On this Labor Day, may we honor all of the workers who have risked to protect our communities, to work for economic justice. And may we remember that we are also a people who have agency and power and who will go forth and work for justice. Blessed be and amen.
Latin America has a very interesting history when it comes to social justice and change. The 60s were an interesting decade, if we can call it like that. Yeah, and the world context, it's, well, super diverse. Here we had the Vietnam War. In Mexico, we had the 1968 student movement. And in a lot of countries in Latin America, there were a lot of different dictatorships. And we need to talk about Chile if we want to understand the whole context. Chile was a country that was the cradle for the new movement in music. I'm talking about groups of like Inti Limani, Quilapayún, and performers like Víctor Jara and Violeta Parra. Violeta Parra was one of the most important idols when it comes to the Latin American folklore. She has beautiful songs like La Jardinera, which is the one we're going to perform right now, and Gracias a la Vida, which was the last song she wrote before she died. She is a very important piece of our culture, and this is one of the most beautiful songs that she ever wrote.
Para olvidarme de ti voy a cultivar la tierra y en ella espero encontrar remedio para mis penas. Aquí plantaré el rosal de las espinas más gruesas, la pondré bajo la almohada para quedarme dormida. Para mi tristeza violeta azul, clavelina roja para mi pasión, y para saber si me corresponde desojo un blanco manzanillón. Si me quiere mucho, poquito, nada, tranquilo queda mi corazón. Cogollo de toronjil cuando me aumenten las penas. Las flores de mi jardín han de ser mis enfermeras. Y si acaso yo me ausento antes que tú te arrepientas, heredarás estas flores, ven a curarte con ellas. Para mi tristeza violeta azul, clavelina roja para mi pasión, y para saber si me corresponde desojo un blanco manzanillón. Si me quiere mucho, poquito, nada, tranquilo queda mi corazón. Creciendo irán poco a poco los alegres pensamientos. Cuando ya estén florecidos irá lejos tu recuerdo. De la flor de la amapola seré su mejor amiga. La pondré bajo la almohada para dormirme tranquila. Para mi tristeza violeta azul, clavelina roja para mi pasión, y para saber si me corresponde desojo un blanco manzanillón. Si me quiere mucho, poquito, nada, tranquilo queda mi corazón.